Welcome to Golden Chat, where we provide straight talk. Each week, we deliver great insights about assisted living facilities. I'm your host, Stella, with your co host, Pedro.
Good afternoon,
Good
everyone.
morning. Good
Yes,
afternoon,
yes.
indeed.
Well, let me before we get started, let me talk about the definition of an assisted living facility. It's a location that offers 24 hours, 7 days a week, activities of daily living to seniors that are in need. It has staffing 24 hours for all their care. So that's basically one of the things that they need when they're looking for an assisted living facility is that's that care and that staff presence. Okay. So
Great.
let's begin.
True.
Let's begin with you, Stella.
I'm ready.
All right.
So,
So
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, so we're going to discuss. We had a listener last week, and they called. And they had a case, and they had a question for us, and it's depleting resources and what are the options. And the listener talked about the aspects of her parent is running out of money for the assisted living facility that she's currently residing in, an 80 plus bed facility. It's actually $4,300 is what they're paying currently for the services that the mother needs, and the annuity that she's using to compensate with her retirement is running out, and they wanted to know what options were out there.
Okay, so let's discuss her case a little bit more in detail. So,
Okay,
from what we gathered from her, from the listener, so it was the case of her mom, as you said. She was 82 years old. She's been for 6.5 years in that facility. So it's not like somebody who's just out.
correct,
It's
correct.
somebody who's been in a facility. And in case of, and you mentioned annuity, so we're not sure whether what kind of investment retirement
Product.
account it was, or a
Hmm.
401k, but it was one of those products.
Hmm.
And as well, what we know is that the way she was covering for, so you mentioned 4,300,000 per month. She
Forty three
had,
hundred dollars, correct.
that would be a long, a big amount. Sorry, 4,200, 4,200. Thank you, 4,300.
All
So
right,
she had 2,200 from her retirement income, and she was covering the difference to the 2,000 with her annuity. And the issue was not her income; was her annuity was depleting. So
correct.
yeah, okay. So one thing we want to say as well about a case, because you may be out there with a similar case, and we want to make sure you get the best insight for you to move to your next facility. So in her case, she sold a primary home. So
Hmm.
she didn't have, so, and she used a proceed for a investment retirement account. So basically, her annuity was a primary home proceed.
Correct.
So she didn't have any other place to go. So she wasn't able to meet her to cover the payment anymore. And what we know is that with the facility, they couldn't accommodate her anymore because they couldn't provide for that price she could afford for 2300,000, 2300, sorry.
Twenty three
They
hundred. Right.
couldn't,
Two
they
thousand three hundred.
2300, they couldn't accommodate her. So now let's talk about her options. With 2200, because that's the situation, what can you do? Let's say the first thing is to transition with family. If you have the ability to move to a family member's house, don't get distressed. Don't try to rush into your next facility. Find a friend or family member you can transition with. And as you said, Pedro, I remember we talked about that. Somebody who can meet your needs, at least for the very beginning.
For a short period of time, correct. And though you may have a family member who is willing, you want to make sure that the residence in which you're contemplating moving into meets your needs too, especially if you need ADA. You need some ADA equipment and compliances. So just keep that take that into
Mhm.
consideration, because you don't want to make any any rash decisions. you know.
Yeah. So yeah, and then they can always, have those home care agencies to cover in the meantime if there are specific need the family
That's
member or the
correct.
friend cannot meet. So
That's
there's
correct.
option for you to transition into. So don't be scared. Just think about for now a transition.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now we had a podcast before when we talk about Medicaid. Can you briefly guide our listeners into the Medicaid aspects?
Well, with the information that she shared and saying that the annuity was running low, based on how much assets she has, Medicaid is definitely an option. It's worth exploring, and I mean, at minimum, doing the application and allowing Medicaid to either approve or deny the mother. So I would definitely make that call and get her on a list. I would do that. So that way, if for because eventually she is going to deplete her her resources if she outlives her annuity, she is gonna outlive that. So get the ball rolling with getting on that Medicaid wait list in your state.
Yeah, and the good thing is because of in that situation, she most likely would qualify. So that's the best, and be on a waiting list and see. And we will recommend you to go back to our podcast about the Medicaid aspect. I think it
Mhm.
was like affordable options for assisted
Affordable
living.
options. That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Now, talking about affordable options, they are affordable facilities. Sometimes what people see is those big places where she was at 80 plus bed, and where they
Correct.
have amenities and services, the kind of hotel or resort style. That's what people have in mind when they think about assisted living facilities. Now, what you have to know is there are more residential type facilities or affordable where you have the services. You may not have the amenities there, but you have the services. So, Pedro, just quickly, if you can talk about like those facilities, that would help.
Right. So, the activity of daily living, you want to make sure that your needs and the services that your parents going to need can be met at the location, that the level of care is correct. Once you rule that out, and you're like, this is a place, the amenities. Again, we talked about this in a past podcast, but if you're not really into watching cinema, then why pay for the cinema? Why pay for the media room? Why pay for the swimming pool? Why pay for some of those amenities that you're not necessarily going to utilize? So it's not to say that those facilities are charging. They're charging for those amenities. So if you don't need those, you're definitely going to want to look at some more affordable options. Residential has there's a lot of residential facilities out there that can meet those
Mm-hmm.
needs. It's just narrowing down the correct facility for your loved one, and that might take a little bit of an individual family member hitting the pavement and making some calls and visiting some locations to see if they have availability, and just narrow down the ones that you like that are in your price range.
Yeah, and jumping on that, if you don't have the time to actually do all that research yourself, because you may be working, and
Correct.
and we understand that time is not something you
Valuable.
have.
Correct.
Yes, so use placement agencies that actually are going to do the work for you for free,
Correct.
because they're getting paid by the facilities. So give them a call, and they call placement agencies, and give them a call, talk to an advisor, explain what is the case of your parents, or if you're the senior yourself, the resident yourself, just explain what is your case, and they're going to do the research for you. They're going to help you narrow down what are the facilities around where you live or where you want to be that actually offer, in her case, 2200 as a service-based, all-inclusive. This is a service that we also provide to you, as well as education. We want to save you time and make sure that you have the best options available for you. So you can call any of those placement agency, or you can call us as well. We'll be happy to help you. So now, all of that is making an informed decision from the very beginning, because we don't always think about it, because sometimes that happens. So um, what you want to do is have the information you need to make the right decision. And there's two parts. The first part is what are your needs, and the second part is what are your financials. So there's two parts. I would start saying that you want to look at your long-term financial plan and talk to a financial
Yep.
advisor about what you have. Um, because we don't think about that. But at the end, the reason why our listener was in that situation may have been because they didn't have that long-term plan. Again, what we would suggest is to talk to a financial advisor. If you don't know who to talk to, give us a call, email us. We'll be happy to guide you in the right direction.
That's correct.
Is there something you want to add about the financial planner, or we can move to the next point?
Yeah, we can move on to the next point. It's definitely going to be just find the right one that you feel comfortable with.
Talking about finances as well. So sometimes you get into facilities and you may be good for the first year, not realizing that next year they're going to raise their rates. So what can they do about that, Pedro?
Well, I definitely would just speak with administration. You may want to just get a baseline of what their rates were maybe last year, 2 years ago, to and compare them to where they are today. So that way, it gives you like a projection of what the cost is going to be, maybe 2, 3 years from now, because there's going to be increases that are going to take place. So you definitely want to plan smart when you're looking at these options. And again, um, ruling out what you need versus what you don't need. I mean,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's similar to buying a house, right? So you don't want to buy too much house if you don't need it. So you want to find something that meets your needs, and and it should be the same way in the aspects of the facility. I feel a certain way today. I'm healthy, thank God, and but how am I going to feel a year from now or 2 years from now? I'm not necessarily sure, but I need to plan for that. With the aging process, things are going to happen. So we want to make sure that we take that in consideration. If you have a diagnosis today, you definitely know that you may have that diagnosis. Your situation may improve, or it may not. It may decline. So you want to keep, again, those are things you want to take into consideration when you're looking for a facility. If you have a diagnosis that needs medical staff, meaning injectables, where you need to get insulin or anything that's more medical, then you again another piece, you
good.
need to look to specific locations. Um, Making an informed decision. That's what this is about, making an informed decision.
That's all this is about. And thank you, Pedro, for ending on these great notes. So
Yes.
remember that you have access to every single podcast on our website, easierlivingforyou.com. You can give us a call on 407-794-7277, or email us at hello@easierlivingforyou.com. We'll be happy to receive any of your questions, because what we're doing is giving you tips and pointers. So do not hesitate to call or to email, and give us as much details as you can, because the more detail you give us, the better we can answer your questions. So everything you're going to ask us, we'll make sure that we cover it in a podcast, so not only you, but anybody else can benefit from it. So again, we'll see you next time at 12:45. So next week, join us at 12:45 p.m. We'll be happy to talk to you. For now, we say till next time.
Have a great day.
Bye bye.